Welcome back, Focus Learners. Today, we're jumping right into something absolutely massive, literally the architecture of enlightenment. We've taken 6 deeply profound Eastern spiritual texts and synthesized them into one single cohesive roadmap. If you've ever looked at Eastern philosophy and thought, wow, this is a lot, well, this explainer is exactly what you need. We're going to cut through the noise and build a clear path, going all the way from the tiny decisions we make every day right up to the literal fate of the universe.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, the cosmic urgency. Second, the foundation of humanity. Third, awakening the sincere vow. Fourth, severing ties to karma. And finally, cultivating true merit.
All right, let's jump right into phase 1, the cosmic urgency and the end of the third kalpa.
Okay, so before we talk about individual spiritual practices, we really have to zoom out, and I mean way out. We need to define a kalpa. This is an eon. We're talking about a period of time so mind-bogglingly vast that it covers the entire life cycle of a universe: creation, existence, destruction, and emptiness. According to the texts, we are currently living in what's known as the end of the third kalpa. And this specific phase, it's categorically defined by destruction and ending. Understanding this immense timescale is absolutely crucial because it tells us why our current era feels so volatile and why taking action right now is so extremely urgent.
The texts actually point out a really chilling paradox. They tell us that peak worldly evolution, like our massive technological leaps, often comes right before a huge catastrophe. So while humanity is kicking back, feeling complacent and distracted by all our new advancements, the cosmic cycle is literally shifting under our feet. Because we're in this final destructive phase, the texts are essentially calling for a massive cosmic rescue mission across all realms of existence. Spiritual cultivation isn't framed as just some weekend hobby here. It's presented as the one true refuge from an inevitable worldly chaos.
Which brings us to phase 2, the foundation of humanity, grounding the spirit.
Now, before you go reaching for the stars to save yourself, you absolutely must have your feet planted firmly on the ground. It's a super common trap to think that reaching the supreme dharma, that ultimate spiritual truth, means you have to completely ditch your normal daily life. But the texts strictly correct this. The supreme dharma is actually built directly on top of basic human morality. Think of it like building a house. If you can't master basic ethics, virtues, and your daily responsibilities, you just don't have the foundation to support higher spiritual truths. You literally have to walk the earth properly before you can reach the heavens. And that leads to a really beautiful illustration of these human virtues. It's an ancient proverb that the texts heavily emphasize. When drinking water, remember the source. Now, this isn't just about politely saying thank you. It's a profound spiritual anchor. The idea is that recognizing exactly where our blessings, our safety, and our very existence come from is the ultimate prerequisite for anyone on a spiritual path. If you don't have a deeply ingrained sense of gratitude, progressing spiritually is basically impossible. To be perfectly clear, the texts actually map out exactly who we owe this gratitude to. We have to be thankful to heaven for our spiritual essence, to our masters and teachers for guiding our wisdom, to our parents and ancestors for our physical bodies, to the nation for providing peace and a safe harbor, and of course to the public and our community for that daily, interconnected support that sustains us all. Acknowledging this massive web of support is what keeps a practitioner genuinely humble and grounded. Moving right along to phase 3, awakening the sincere vow, where intention meets action. So grounding yourself is great, but we need a spark to actually get moving, right? We have to take our initial faith and forge it into an unbreakable spiritual commitment. This spark is called the Bodhi mind. It's the awakened mind. We're not talking about a passive belief here. It's an active, burning desire to not only seek the ultimate truth for yourself, but to help pull all sentient beings out of suffering. The texts stress that this Bodhi mind is the ultimate catalyst. But here's the catch. Sparking it is just step 1. You have to maintain it continuously, day after day, without wavering against any worldly distractions. When you make a vow to actually do this, you have to ask yourself, where is it really coming from? The teachings use this fascinating 8-part matrix to test your vow. Are your intentions wrong, driven by ego and wanting fame? Or are they right, purely seeking to awaken? Are they false and hypocritical, or true and utterly sincere? Are they small, where you just want to save yourself, or great, aiming to save everyone? Are they biased, meaning you're attached to a specific outcome, or complete and perfectly aligned with nature? To truly cultivate yourself, your vow absolutely must be right, true, great, and complete.
And the texts are completely uncompromising on this next point. If you lose that pure, initial, sincere vow, that Bodhi mind, everything else changes. Without it as your foundation, all your subsequent meditations, your charity, your good deeds, they just become mere worldly, superficial acts. Sure, they might bring you a little temporary good karma, but they will not lead to ultimate spiritual liberation. Think of the vow as your compass. Lose it, and you're just wandering lost in the woods. Let's look at phase 4, severing ties to karma and confronting the obstacles.
Now that our compass is set, we immediately crash into the massive roadblocks we've actually built for ourselves: karma. Now, karma isn't some mystical, abstract punishment. It's a mechanical accumulation that we create every single day through 3 specific avenues. First, through the physical actions of our body. Second, through the words of our speech. And third, and honestly this is the sneakiest one, through the unseen thoughts in our mind. The texts point out that a practitioner has to maintain a constant microscopic vigilance over all 3 of these to stop generating negative karma. Grasping the sheer gravity of karma is essential here. It is literally the engine powering samsara, that endless cycle of reincarnation, suffering, birth, and death. Every time we commit an evil deed, we are essentially shoveling coal into that engine, guaranteeing that we stay trapped in the cycle. So cutting out the bad deeds isn't just about being a good person. It's a hardcore tactical necessity. We literally have to starve the engine of samsara of its fuel.
And that brings us to the final step. Phase 5, cultivating true merit, the ultimate goal. Okay, so we've recognized the cosmic stakes, our foundation is built, our vow is locked in, and we're starving the karma engine. Now, what's the actual objective? The texts draw a line here that is profoundly counterintuitive to how we normally think. Listen to this. If you do a massive act of charity, but deep down you're expecting praise or a better life or some heavenly reward, the texts actually consider your spiritual progress to be an illusion. You're just trading a good deed for a worldly payout. True merit is a completely different ballgame. This comparison maps out the duality perfectly. Worldly blessings happen when you seek a reward. It's basically a transaction. It's deeply attached to your ego, and here's the key. It has a finite lifespan. You get your reward, and then it's gone. True merit, on the other hand, is generated when a deed is done with absolutely zero expectation of getting anything in return. Think of it like making an open source contribution to the universe. It is completely empty of ego. And because it's unattached to the worldly realm, its value is infinite, directly constructing your path to eternal liberation. The entire architecture of this enlightenment roadmap ultimately leads right here, to this single realization. Escaping that endless cycle of birth and death is only possible when we finally strip away the ego, the karma, and the desires, and return to the completely pure original state of our soul. Cultivating true merit is simply the natural action of a soul that has finally remembered its original, flawless nature. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a powerful question to really mull over in your own life. When you do good in the world, are you secretly building up an invoice, waiting for the universe to pay you back? Or are you operating from a place of pure, unattached, true merit? Thank you so much for joining me on this incredibly fascinating deep dive into Eastern philosophy. Keep focused, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next one.